Hey guys, how's it going? Or are you guys there? Oh, hey.
Hey, sorry, I just grabbed a snack.
Yeah. No problems. So as you can see, they've almost got the field together in the back.
Nice.
I think they're just on the last bits of it, if I'm not mistaken. I also was playing around a little bit with the GPS sensor too. I kind of modified that sample code a little bit. Just turn it into a function to kind of play with. What was I doing?
Is there a layout of how the field's supposed to be set up?
Is there like another step that kind of shows the troubles on there? That's the end of it.
I was saying how to.
I could probably look up one.
Is it how many matches on the field like?
What that is, I think that's the layout for skills. Yeah, that's skills.
Size. The blue one doesn't raise on.
Well, the blue ones are preloads, but they stay off the field.
Oh, the blue ones.
Like the other ones
Here,
Okay, give me two green. Hey, give me four.
yeah, here's what it looks like. So most of those tri balls are like freeloads. There's only only like 4 on the field? No, and there's one in each corner.
That's 4.
And then there's 6 more. Yeah.
So there's 10 of them.
Yeah, there's 10 in total on the field. And then yeah.
So we really gonna have to put preloads in if we want to score. Yeah, you have to play match.
Yeah, the match loads, yeah. You're definitely gonna
Let me see.
need to use match loads.
And it only 3.
So let me I think I said I was also going to like let me send the Zoom link to my phone so I can kind of pull that up.
If they go opposite.
Just give me 1 second to do that.
There's one under each of these problems. I mean,
Oh, so there's like 11.
Let me just launch Zoom here. Oh, so I'll go ahead and say the word for today is programming. Programming is our word for the day.
So 11. So 12. So about 4 hours.
And did you hear that, Lawrence, as well?
Yeah, you said programming.
Yeah, programming is going to be our word for today.
Hey, I'm actually having surgery on Monday,
Oh,
and if the meeting's at 3, I probably will be able to make it because my surgery probably be in the morning. But yeah, I haven't been feeling well, and I got a kidney stone. I guess they're gonna.
yeah, you have a kidney stone? Because I've dealt with those before, and they are
Yeah, I do.
not.
I have Crohn's disease, and now I got a kidney stone. So they're gonna take it out Monday.
Yeah. I think I sent myself the wrong link, maybe.
You said you had one?
I had one a couple of years ago, and I thought I was going to pass out the first time that happened. It was not good.
Yeah, I was in the emergency room on Saturday, and I thought I was gonna die. You know, they thought I was faking it, but
Yeah. It's an
So that-
yeah, it's a crazy amount of pain. I definitely don't ever want to go through that experience again. So I've been kind of like watching what I drink now, like cutting down on
Yes, it's the same thing.
yeah, those are both. Yeah, those just 2 boxes of trouble. I'm trying to connect to my phone right now. If you'll just give me a second to
It doesn't matter how high you are.
do that.
That's what I'm saying, so like. You know,
Okay.
I wanna try to-
Yeah, I was connecting to the wrong Zoom room. This should be the room. Yeah, that should be me on my phone coming in.
That's what you're saying.
So now you see me everywhere.
'Cause, like,
You've
we
got
get-
me in stereo now.
that's- having them-
Recording in progress.
Okay. That echoes kind of bad. Let me mute. Okay, hold on. Is that better?
That's.
Okay, let me, sorry.
Probably,
Okay.
probably mute and turn the volume down on your phone.
Yeah, I was just, I need to turn off the volume on my phone too. So,
your phone and the computer?
so that they can see the field and stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got here. So we were talking about using the GPS, and I was doing a little bit of work with it earlier. Here is this is the code I kind of threw together for it. So basically what I did was I used this competition template. And I guess it would help if I shared my screen because you can't see anything. So let me do that.
Yeah, you just put it in here. Hey, what's it count?
Okay. So this is just a competition template. And then I pretty much just kind of grabbed some of the code and did a few modifications, but out of that sample, like they had like this print position where it was displaying the position on the screen. But then I also went ahead and also have it set up so it displays it on the controller as well. So I wouldn't have to look at the screen. The calibrate GPS, I just grabbed right straight from it. It was kind of interesting. That particular so that particular program, it was using both an inertial sensor and the GPS. And it actually had a whole bunch of other sensors too. But so as you can see, we got this drivetrain set up with the inertial sensor, and then also added a GPS sensor too. And it's mainly using the values off of the inertial sensor, but we have basically when we're calibrating the GPS, we're also resetting the heading from the drivetrain, which is using the inertial sensor. It's grabbing the GPS heading and resetting the inertial heading to the GPS heading. So that was kind of interesting. And then so here is basically that function, that whole thing where it was doing that. So this is a function that I made. It's called just drive to the position. And so you just feed in an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. And this is like in inches on the field, where the middle is 0, 0. And then it's just kind of a coordinate plane from there. And everything's in inches. That is something I kind of changed from the sample code was all in millimeters. So a couple of things I kind of noticed when I was going through it myself was like with the GPS sensor, when you're setting it up, you kind of want to set up where the sensor is in relation to the center of the robot. So like so so wherever it's mounted at, like for instance, yeah, I have this, can you see, on my other, well, it's facing the wrong way. Let me. Can I swap the video on this camera? So it's not using my face? I'm not used to using Zoom on a phone. So there's stop video button, but surely you can change the camera, right? Wait, yeah, I think I see it. It's this button. Did that swap it? Yeah. Okay, so if you see this robot here, and I'll stop my share, you can so you can see that a little better. So the GPS is kind of mounted kind of high because you want it to be kind of at the same height as the sensor strip. That's what it says. I read that somewhere. I don't remember where. But you can see I have it kind of mounted to the back of the robot a bit. So when you're, and so I measured basically from the center to the back, and it was like 6 inches. So that's what I put in as my offset. So going back to, yeah. So when you mess with this offset, it kind of changes like where it is on the robot, basically. And that's so that like when you're doing your turns and everything like that, it kind of knows where it is. So, and then I also set this sensor up so it's actually facing forward. You can have it pointed backwards or any direction, but you say what it is. Like, for instance, if you have the sensor pointed sideways, you can just do a 90-degree offset or whatever. So that's kind of it for that part of it. If you go into, if you actually look on the, I'm going to stop my share again so you can see my camera. So if you look under devices here, this is better to show off on the field. Oh, it's all nice and set up now.
Yeah.
Here's our field. Look at all that. Looks nice. So if we look at right here, what we have here is our GPS support 8. So I'm going to pick that and see. It kind of show. Can you guys kind of see that screen there? So as I move the robot around, it kind of showing. Into the color, I use the camera really. That's what we always use. Do you see how it's kind of shows that kind of tone of what it's seeing? And it kind of shows where the robot is in relation to the field. So for instance, if I take up the robot and set it over here, now it's showing it's over here facing that wall. And so it shows you the X and Y position of the robot and also its heading. And actually you can even hit image here to see what the camera would actually see. So it'll actually show what the camera is seeing there. And it even it's kind of hard to maybe see on my camera here, but it actually kind of shows like a green and red line showing the strip. So what's kind of taking up the strip. So I've got a program that program I was just showing you, and I'll go back. Let me go back to a screen share again. So like I said, basically I just kind of I took all that code that they had for grabbing the starting X and Y from the GPS position, and then it calculated the turn angle based off of what the ending X and Y are. So it got that heading, it turned to that heading, and then it figured out the distance, and it's supposed to drive to that distance. So that's what the function does. And so in our so I have this all in the competition code. So I put it in autonomous here. So here's like, for instance, drive to position -20, 0. So that should drive to no matter where it is on the field to start with, it should drive to that, so 20 inches away from the center. Well, we'll see how this works out, I guess. And then this should drive through one corner and then drive to another corner. I haven't actually run it yet, but let's run it now and see what happens. So I intentionally have the robot. Let me turn off screen share. So I intentionally have the robot kind of facing away. And I think -20, 0 should put it somewhere in between those two bylaws. It's what I'm hoping. But let's see what happens when we actually run this. Okay, so yeah, it's I forgot. Okay, so here we go. Because I'm gonna run. I forgot I had it all on the competition. So, yeah, so let me turn on the competition switch. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it turned and faced that way. And that's about where I was thinking it would go. Okay, and now it's coming back to this corner. Oh, yeah. So that's more of a fault in my coordinates. Because I probably should have I probably should have went a little further down, right? But and one issue with the way that we have it right now with this program is it's not really. I'm going to turn off my phone for now, and I can always hop back in later. But you might have noticed that it got hung up on that bar, right? And it just kind of went to the rest of that distance, thinking it was going that distance, right? But it wasn't actually ever checking to see if it was there or not, or doing anything about that. And that was just a limitation of how we programmed it, right? Because it was just the only time it was checking was before it actually went anywhere, right? So it was just checking its relative position then, and then calculating what turn it needed to do and which way to go, and then try to go that distance. If we implemented some sort of loop with maybe a check along the way to see if it was there, then that would probably be a little better, right? But that performed pretty well, right? Because because I didn't tell it where it was started at, and it still went straight to the point that I wanted to, and it didn't go to the second point, and it would have went to the third. It was going in the right direction to go to the third point. It's just that pipe got in the way. So I would consider that a success. So as far as some ideas, I do kind of like that idea of using it in conjunction with the inertial sensor, and then using the GPS sensor to occasionally update the inertial sensor, like the heading and stuff. Because I could definitely see a situation where, let's say you drove over the pipe in autonomous for whatever reason, and then after you're over the other side, you could then do that GPS check and update your inertial sensor again. So I feel like just being able to like grab the position at any given time could be useful as well. So I'm kind of happy with how that kind of turned out. So It was a lot, because I didn't try out that particular code, but I was kind of playing around with it a bit. And it was with the portable field, it's a lot more precise than it was on when we tried it with the vinyl strips. So what do you guys think of that?
I thought that was also really good for the first try. I'm wondering how, I guess, accurate it is. Like, if you were to run it again, would it go to that exact same spot, or would it be kind of?
Let's. I could try that. You want to? Yeah. In fact, I'm going to try it from a different location.
Sounds good.
So let me hop back in. Okay. Okay. So I'll take that robot again and let's set it somewhere else. So I'm going to set it on the other side. Or Remy, would you mind like just plopping it somewhere like over by that corner there? And let's just don't get let's actually face it towards the wall. Yeah, and maybe back it up just that'll probably back it up just a little bit. Like 14. Yeah. Okay. So can you see it over there? Okay. Yeah. I guess you could always pin it. So okay, so I'm gonna run that program again. UPS run. Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna enable the autonomous now. So let's see. Okay, so it turned towards it turned towards where we're going. And now it's coming to this corner. Yeah. And once again, I didn't change it. I should have probably made that a little. And now it's trying to drive to the opposite corner, but once again. Will that work? Did we scratch it all? Oh no, I'm scratching it all up. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna get scratched in the work. So as far as within like I'm sorry, let me leave this again. I don't know. I mean, that was a totally different location and still did the same thing. So I still think that's pretty good. So man, this field is hard to maneuver around though. Just now that it's built and looking how tight it is relative to the size of a robot, especially when you're going to have 4 robots on the field, it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's that GPS. And I think it might be worth doing a unit about, right, and kind of exploring the GPS functionality for sure.
I mean, you think,
And there is the so there are those templates that you can kind of use to kind of get you started. And so I mean, so one thing you could probably try with the kids is just running each different template, and then as they are, and then maybe exploring like the advantage, how each one does its thing, and then having them maybe develop a function out of that template, and then seeing if they can make like a multi-step journey like what we kind of have there. That would be probably the route I would take with it if I was having the kids do it. But what do you guys think? So Lawrence, you're dealing with a kidney stone as we speak right now? Like,
yeah,
are you on pain meds or anything, or?
I mean, they gave me a prescription. I
Yeah.
haven't filled it yet, but I mean, I just,
So,
Yeah.
so you haven't taken anything yet?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I got a surgery in a week, so. But hey, on your thing, is there any way that we could see that code? Like, could you send us the code that you did?
Yeah, I can, how about this? I'll save this as GPS. And I'll just email it to both of you.
Now, like, it went really to the exact spot that you told it to go to?
It did, because I told it, negative 20, 0. So that's negative 20 in the X direction. Because I didn't want it to be exactly 0, 0, because that's the pipe would have been in the way. So so that was just a little bit left of the center is what I told it to do. And that's what it did. It turned towards and it went straight to a little bit left of the center. So yeah, I think it worked really. And then I told it to go basically to the other corner. So I think I just
You
need
think you're gonna use that for your?
for competition, maybe for skills, because once you have once you kind of do some functions with it, then you can just kind of plot your points, right? The path you want to travel. So after you have the function, you can just say, okay, so I'm going to go from here, and then to these coordinates, and then to these coordinates, and so you can just do that. Just kind of plot out your path for the robot.
I mean, I guess for driver, people are still gonna have the old fields.
Yeah.
For the competition, they're only gonna have that field for the skills.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there has to be a GPS strip for the skills, right? That's one of the requirements.
Right, but that one that they put up, it's not straight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's flimsy. It doesn't even look like it, because they just
Yeah,
like.
the vinyl one isn't. Yeah, the vinyl one isn't really good. So I'm hoping that we can get most of the event partners to agree to start swapping over to the portable fields if we can.
I mean, I guess at least for the skills field, right?
Because that's just what they're doing at Worlds. They're using the portable field. So I feel like we should be doing that too, right? If we're ever going to be competitive at Worlds, we need to be kind of on that same level with the equipment, right?
Right.
Anyways, let me upload, send you that code. This is just the file.
They're not hard to push under. But I mean, if they did a certain way, they're not.
And really, so I think I just sent you guys in an email that code. It's in an attachment. But once again, all I did was really take what was in that template and turn it into a function. And maybe added a few things on my own, like showing it on the screen, on the controller, but so yeah, even I don't know, it maybe not relying on it for competition, but it's nice. It's nice when it works. I mean, if you have the portable field, it seems like it's a pretty good thing. And I feel like it would be useful for the kids because this is like a solid application of trig, right? So I just feel like that's a good learning opportunity for them. If they understand what's going on with the code and everything. Because I mean, I mean, we were going to attempt writing all that code without looking at the template until we saw the template was there, right? And I feel like that's something that you could maybe take with advanced students and work your way through if you had the time to work with them, right? So I don't know. I think it'd be worthwhile just from an educational standpoint, even if it's not used, say, in a competition setting. Is it worth $200? Who knows? but so it is really nice that you have an X and Y position that you can grab at any time, and a heading position that you can grab and check at any time. So like at the very least, even if you're relying on the inertial sensor, at least this would be even if you were relying on inertial sensor, you could always at least grab that GPS data too for your points, at least just as a check to see if you're getting to the right locations or whatever. So I like it. I think it's nice, but man, Lawrence, if kidney stone, I mean, I would be in bed or at least on some really good medication right now, because like I didn't have to have surgery for mine. It was small enough that I passed it on my own. Like they did that little ultrasound thing to break it up a bit, and so that I didn't have to have surgery. So if you're having one that has to have surgery, that must be a pretty big one then, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not surgery. I guess they're going with they got new stuff apparently. They're going with like a colonoscopy thing.
But up the other hole.
Oh, got this discussion here, right here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is all being recorded too and going to be
All right.
posted.
Yeah, that's true. And it's going to be posted to public. Yeah. So I'm sure Gerardo, I don't think Vanessa watches the recordings all the way through, but Gerardo might get on there and, but yeah.
Yeah, skip over this part.
That's another application of robotics there, right? Like the Zenoscopes and stuff, kind of like
Yeah,
the.
but I guess it's a doctor driving it this time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there's some kind of laser at the end of the camera thing that they could use to destroy the stone. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's modern technology. I just yeah. Yep. Yes, definitely want to stay hydrated. Actually, that can be even worse, right? If you're drinking a lot of fluids right now and can't really. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, you probably don't want to think about it right now.
You know what else helps with it? You go there, you drink to a Bud Light, the acid off of Bud Light and go in there.
So Lawrence Cam suggests drinking a lot of alcohol. He says the acid from it will help break it down, like with a lot of beer.
That's my problem. I hadn't been drinking enough alcohol, I guess.
Yep, need enough beer. That's the solution.
Great advice from a high schooler.
Yes, from the high school student. Yep. Yep. Okay, so is there anything else we want to explore with the GPS while we're on that topic? I mean, so we kind of saw a good demonstration of it. I'm trying to think. Like there's definitely room and improvement with that code that I sent you, right? Because one thing, yeah. So the big limitation is it's not checking its progress along the way. So but I guess when you kind of think about it, even if it is in the wrong location, if you use it again, it's still going to just grab the location it's at to try to go to the next point anyways. It's just that if there's a obstacle in the way. So maybe, so what you could do is maybe, you could do like an if statement, right? That says something like if it's within like some amount of error to the X position and the Y position. And you can maybe set like almost like a dead zone or something like that, or a source of error for it. So like if it's within like a couple of inches of that position, then it's done, but otherwise maybe run it again. Until it reaches the position. Something along that's me spitballing. How would you tackle it, Sadie? I mean, you have a bit more computer science background than I do.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that because most of my robotics students were freshmen last year. So their trig, which I don't think it would be very difficult to teach them, the trig needed for this. But I was just thinking about how I'd probably have to go, I don't know, just teach them trig first,
Yeah, but that particular trig of the angles is covered in geometry, which is a sophomore. There's sophomore math, right?
Yes, but it wouldn't be like,
Yeah,
again, they're going to be sophomores this year and it's not going to be until the end of the year. So like I'd be waiting until, next year if I was relying on the geometry teacher.
Yeah.
To teach it to them.
Or you could teach it to them now and the geometry teacher would be thanking you later, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of thinking. I was just thinking about if I would have, which I'm sure I'd have time. It's just I always feel like we never have enough time.
Yeah.
For robotics, so that's kind of where I would like where my head was at.
Are those kids going to be in the advanced class, or are you talking about just for the club?
No, okay, for the club in general, but I do have, let's see.
So the kids in your class that they will have had geometry already, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Because if they took intro to robotics sophomore year, I'm assuming, or did they take it at?
Some of them were freshmen. Is that not how it's supposed to be for intro to robotics?
It depends on it. If you're following there's a. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter when you take it. It's just our school doing the pathway for the STEM endorsement. We do intro and ICT, intro to engineering and ICT freshman year.
Okay.
And then do robotics and the principles of engineering sophomore year to get there for.
Which of those classes do you teach?
I teach the ICT and the robotics, and then Miss Clark, I don't know if you ever met her, Valerie Clark. She teaches the other two engineering classes at our school. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just me at the school who's teaching any STEM pathways or, engineering, science, STEM classes. So.
Are you doing the engineering classes too? Or like, are you trying to do the whole STEM?
Well, I would sort of. I don't know if it's actually going to be possible, but I am taking intro to engineering this summer. Like I'm also in the course with Catherine Fritz. But I haven't actually gotten to meet with her yet. So tomorrow,
Okay, so tomorrow's your first day to meet.
Yeah.
Because of all the morning stuff with the swimming. Yep.
Yeah, and I had emailed her asking when she wanted to meet with me, outside of like the regular hours, and she never responded. So I've just been doing all the work asynchronously. And it's fun. But yeah, so I'm doing the intro to engineering. I have the intro to robotics, the computational thinking. So I teach AP computer science principles right now, but isn't the computational thinking pretty much just computer science principles?
No,
it's
not. It's a completely different course.
Okay, I thought that there was one where I said it was like it took a lot of the curriculum from CSP, but I guess
there is a pathways course that does, but I think it really is just CSP. I think there's a path, but I think you might have to correct me, or Vanessa would probably tell you better than I could, but I'm pretty sure the 4 core courses for the silver endorsement are ICT, the 4 we named, the intro to engineering, principles of engineering, and robotics are the 4.
Right.
And then and the ICT is the odd one out of those because it's done by a completely different department. Like Vanessa's not in charge of any of that. It's all It's all through their math department, but they're really dedicated. They're just weird. So I like the language. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the ICT language that they use it's not a common language that we use in that
What
class.
is it?
I think it's called Haskell. Haskel.
Yeah, I've
the,
never heard of that.
The platform they use is Code World, but it's like the professor writes a lot of custom stuff for it. Like all the BR byte stuff, like for the registering so that's all custom written by him, and he just wants to
Oh.
avoid all the Google stuff as much as possible. So his one concession was when he did kind of set up for it to use Google to save the files and stuff like that, but even then he was trying to avoid that. So so his argument is he didn't want to teach a language, he wanted to teach the concepts.
So he made his own language.
And it's not an object-based language like C and all those. It's a functional language, I think is what they call it.
Okay.
That probably means more to you than it does to me.
Yeah.
So, but it's weird. It's a can I show you some of it, or do you want to see what it looks
Yeah.
like? Or,
Oh, I'd love to.
let me pull up. There, I'll share my screen again. I guess we're kind of off topic, but really didn't have much that we had down today. Looks like we were going to explore stuff about sensors. So let's see here. BR Bytes. Let me log in the teacher portal. I'll just go. So I'll just pull up some code we did. So this is the compiler that uses Code World, I think is the name of it. So here's a clock. Anyways, what the thing about it that so there are functions and things like that. So you see like this scene as a function and everything like that. It's weird in that it's not executed from top to bottom. So like for instance, I could put these pieces like wherever. Well, okay, so a lot of this code is kind of nested, so it's kind of localized. So the way they localize code here is using wheres and indentation. So it's kind of like Python in that extent, I guess. All right, so you guys heading out?
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for coming by. Let me know when you guys want to meet again. Like I said, I'm gonna have Slade kind of work on cleaning up most of the room in the meantime. But when you guys are ready to meet and actually build some stuff together, or if you're interested in learning how to do the CAD stuff, we can maybe spend a couple of days doing that. So thanks for all your help today, guys. It was.
So I've never seen where.
Yeah, me neither. That's just their way of localizing it to this. So that means that this background only goes with scene and it doesn't go with anything else.
Okay.
So like this tick here only goes with tick marks and it doesn't go with it. So if I were to say calling that tick mark somewhere else, it wouldn't work or whatever like that. But it's just such a, I don't know, it's a weird language. It's what is this code? And a lot of the things you do in it are just mainly making different kind of pictures and stuff. So but it's one nice thing about the ICT is like their monthly meetings are really good. Because they have like all the professors get on there. They have guest speakers come in. So they really put a lot of effort into those monthly meetings. So even though you're not required to attend them after the first year, they're worth checking out when you're so I still go to them. The course changes a lot though every year. Like they're constantly working on it. So like the units get mixed up and assignments that were there one year or they're the next year. And so that's kind of one reason I do attend the monthly meetings all the time, is because it does get swapped up so much. Even like this particular year, they put so much content in that there were like 4 units, and I only got like halfway through the 3rd unit. And I think I was like the second farthest along as far as all the teachers. Most teachers didn't even finish the 2nd unit. So they're still trying to balance it's just that course is a continual work in progress. So
And that's not offered as a dual enrollment?
no, it's not a dual enrollment course. It's supposed to be a freshman level course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And do you think do the freshmen do well in it? Do they struggle with it?
I think they do pretty well. My students have done well. I've only had so one nice thing is almost all project based. There's no like there's really no tests or anything in that class. It's just all projects. And most of my students do pretty well. I usually only have like 1 or 2 each year that just don't turn into work and stuff. And you just can't get away from that.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try, there's always going to be 1 or 2 kids that just aren't going to do.
So how deep do y'all get into programming? Like y'all are doing loops and
Oh, that's weird. That's another thing too. There's no okay, so there is some recursion in it, but it's not done as a loop. Like there's no while loops or and there's no if statements or anything either in the
it
language.
jumps to recursion before.
Yeah. So so okay, so like for instance, trying to think of an it's weird. It's like so like when you do a function, you can so like say f of n with n being your so you don't have to declare a variable type or anything like that, but let's say n is your parameter or whatever like that. So what you could do is you could have like your base state will like f of 0, and then that would be like the final, and then you could have an f at n that does stuff, and then the n, and then you kind of recurse back into it until you get back down to f of 0 again, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so there's no for loops or while loops or anything. Even there's no, even the if statements, instead of doing an if statement, they have a function that's on, and it's like on the condition, and it's got 3 parameters in it. The first parameter is the condition, like which should evaluate the true or false. The second parameter is what it is if it's true, and the third parameter is what it is if it's false.
So is this more of like a database language, I guess? Like, I feel
Okay,
like
yeah. So
like-
the course itself, we do spend a lot of time working with lists and stuff.
okay.
So a lot. So we do like lists with coordinates and stuff like that. And we do a lot with like extracting like the x coordinates out of a list, and then like, so yeah, like finding like the lowest point in a picture that's made up of polygons. So and that polygon is those list of points, and so you kind of have to like, so if you want the lowest point on it, you have to kind of extract out all the y values out of the list, and then and then run to see what the lowest the smallest number in that list is.
Okay.
So it's but I feel like I don't know. But it's just so different from because like Vanessa and Catherine and them, they did a really good job of trying to get all the other courses kind of integrated in a way. So like for instance, like the all the rubrics and all the engineering notebook stuff and all that kind of stuff is all kind of the same kind of along. So the skills that I learned in one class I can apply to the other classes. And then you have this ICT that's just completely different. Like this, the code they're learning there is not going to help them program their Arduino board. It's not going to help them do robotics. It's yeah. And so it's just completely different. So so it's just, and I guess that's what happens when you have different departments working on something, right? So
Louisiana is now moving to where 2 programming language courses qualify as a foreign
a language, like a foreign language. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I've been pushing for that move for a long time, for years now, and I'm glad to see that's actually coming around.
Same. I think they are only allowing certain classes though. Do you
So
know
if ICT is one of those classes, that is a really good question. I'm not sure.
okay.
But that would be something we would probably want to ask Frank or Vanessa about.
Yeah, if we can somehow get it approved.
Because it is a full-blown computer science class for sure. It's just it would be like, I guess, the equivalent of learning what's a really like Portuguese or something, instead of like learning a common language like Spanish or something. Yeah. So
I don't even think CSP qualifies.
oh really?
Yeah, I don't think they'll allow that. They'll allow CSA. But I don't know
but not principles.
but not principles. So at least that's what I feel like I read somewhere. I don't know if that's definite, but
Maybe we can find an article that mentions it. What will we look up? Louisiana programming foreign. Computer science has a foreign language guidance. Let's see what this article says. Here, I'll just post in the chat what I pulled up.
thanks. I was looking it up on my phone.
What's that? Oh yeah.
I was trying to look it up on my phone.
So let's see. Yeah, it has AP Computer Science A, Computer Science, Computer Coding as a foreign language. So yeah, it's pretty brief right now. Because only these particular course codes.
Just computer science.
Yeah, what is that? What is computer? And it looks like it's got to be. Am I reading that right in that it's either one of those or the other? Because it's like 2 units, and those are kind of like in blue.
Yeah. So I think you can't, like, you wouldn't be able to take AP Computer Science A and Computer Coding as a foreign language 1.
Yeah, it looks like you'd have to do, if you were doing AP Computer Science A, you would also have to do computer science. What is this? I'm just reading about the. So to tie the course to a certification exam to ensure that they're receiving age-appropriate skills. Yeah, and this is brand new because it's saying that this policy is effective for fall grade 9 entry 2023 and 2024. So this will take effect this fall. Oh. And computer science A can be AP computer science A can be a math credit or a foreign language.
Yeah, they've been having that.
So you teach AP computer science?
Mhm. I've only taught computer science A once so far because I kind of just follow the interest of the students. So it's easy to get kids into computer science principles because it's fun and we make apps,
Yeah.
you know, and
what platform do you use for that? Do you use code.org or do you?
I did. And then I switched to CodeHS just to try it out. I did not like it.
That code HS or
CodeHS, yes. I felt like it left a little too much for the students to do on, and I didn't pay for the pro
Yeah.
version, which I think gives you a lot more materials. But I was finding that I was having to do like make a bunch of PowerPoints and stuff beforehand. And you know, code.org provides all that for me.
Yeah, I know. I've taught CSP before, and I used the code.org, and that was really nice because it was free. They provided everything. They even sent me to like a 2-week training for it.
I did that too.
Yep. And it was really good.
Yeah, I feel like some of it's a little like babied.
Yeah,
You know, it's like you kind of have to, I don't know, sell them on it a little bit, I guess. But the kids understand it, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I do. I mean, I do like how he like with the internet stuff. How it goes from the very basics of like how would you send information across.
And it makes them do like figure it out by themselves first, you know, and then you talk about how it's actually done, but they have to design it themselves first. And I really like that.
Yeah, I really like that. So yeah, it looks like it's just these classes so far. So until, and it looks like they're looking for classes that have some sort of industry based certification aligned to them in order for it to work. So I guess that's what these classes are. I've never actually heard of these classes, so they're probably brand new.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them either, and really confused about just the computer science.
Yeah, what is that?
What is it?
Yeah, that's but yeah, so whatever the course, even if they do add new courses, it looks like they're looking for courses that have industry-based certification tied to them somehow. So I guess that's why CSP isn't included. And this ICT, I don't think it has one either, because it's not a language anyone uses. So I don't know. But the professor for that class, his name's Fernando Alegre, and he just insists that it's all about it's all about learning the thought processes and stuff like that, and it shouldn't be about learning any specific language. But
I feel like if statements and loops are pretty important.
Yeah, I know those are pretty much. It's just so weird that they're not. It just seems like a missed opportunity to not to have a whole class like a whole year with this computer science and then not introduce those concepts. It's just weird. So yeah, because it would just been so helpful if that class had been more integrated with the other stuff, the other engineering stuff, but it's not. So what do you do? Okay, so we've been probably boring Lawrence a good bit here.
Sorry.
Oh, that's cool. Eric, what classes do you teach other than robotics?
I teach chemistry, dual enrollment chemistry, physical science, robotics, and ICT. That's
Okay.
that's what I taught last year. So in the past, they've had me teach other things too, but that's my current setup.
Right. I guess I just teach chemistry and robotics. And I tutor a bunch of kids in math. That's about it.
Yeah. The previous year, I'm trying to think. Yeah. So the previous year they actually combined my dual enrollment chemistry and chemistry because I guess I didn't have enough people for the chemistry class.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it is. Because the curriculum is totally different. Because you have your state aligned curriculum for chemistry, but the dual enrollment goes off the university, right? So
And it's half a year.
mhm.
Isn't your dual enrollment classes are generally just half of the year, right?
Not mine. Well, we do arts through Louisiana Tech, so
Oh,
it's different.
I guess what she's saying is you have to teach a lot more in dual enrollment, right? Versus the high school, you could take a semester and spread it out over a year, but dual enrollment, you got to fit it all in, right?
Yeah,
okay.
that is definitely true. And so honestly, what I ended up doing is I just taught everyone dual enrollment because like the curriculums were so different that so I just so everyone took the dual enrollment class basically and went with the dual enrollment content, and I kind of curved the test more for the normal chemistry people.
But no, your dual enrollment class is all year long?
Mhm.
Oh,
Who do you do dual enrollment through?
McNeese.
McNeese. And so they just do a semester. So our dual enrollment's through tech.
Okay.
And they're on the quarter system
Right.
anyways.
Yeah.
So what they kind of do is they defer so they enroll in the fall course, but they can defer it all the way to spring. Is what they do because if we were to go by their quarter system, it would
Yeah, it'd be impossible to fit everything that you need to.
yeah, because that's like 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell them too when they struggle with them. Like, hey, look, if you were taking this class in college, this is a 10-week class, and you got a whole year to learn it. So
Okay, so they only get out of 10 weeks when they go to college, but they take a whole year in your class.
yeah, because tech's on the quarter, so they have three. I guess instead of having 2 semesters, they have 3 quarters, and then summer counts as a quarter too. So, so and each of those quarters is 10 weeks long. So. Yeah. So you would take fewer classes in any particular quarter. So you take fewer credit hours at a time, but then you're doing it in a much shorter time frame.
Right. Like 9 hours is considered full.
Yeah, 9 hours would be considered full time. Yeah. So that's like just taking like 3 classes a quarter.
You have to have a master's in chemistry for LA Tech.
Yes. Yeah. For the chemistry dual enrollment. But actually at the time, I've been teaching it for like 11 years now. And I've always been doing the dual enrollment. Back then, as long as you had a master's in anything, it worked. So my master's in teaching was fine. And then I ended up getting grandfathered in. So I don't actually have a master's in chemistry.
Okay. That's nice. They just grandfathered you in, didn't cut you out.
Yeah. So I got grandfathered into that. But if we were to ever change programs or anything like, or go with a different university, I wouldn't be able to teach it because.
Can I ask how much LA Tech pays for dual enrollment?
Like how much they pay the teachers or
Mm-hmm.
$50 a kid.
Oh,
$50 a head.
okay.
How much does McNeese pay?
950 per class.
Just flat 950.
Yeah, they started like prorating. So if I'm under 10 kids, then it's pretty much the same thing, like 50 per kid, whatever it is. But
Yeah. Well, with that, yeah, because my class sizes are usually pretty small in that dorm class. I would seldom have more than 20. So what does that work out to be? That works out to be about 1,000 at 20, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But some years mine only have like that year that had the combined classes, it was only like 13 of the kids were in dual enrollment, and I had like 17 kids that were in non-dual enrollment. So I had 30 kids in that class, which is really bad for a dual enrollment class.
yeah.
They just had them packed in there. That was miserable. We really and trying to teach at that level when you had these kids that really shouldn't have been in there. That was a bad experience. So hopefully they won't do that to me again this coming fall. But we'll see. Never know. Do you do dual enrollment too, Lawrence, or AP or anything like that? Or
I know we have another teacher doing the AP, and we only have a few dual enrollment. Maybe like a math dual enrollment. That's all we have. Everything else we have is AP. But we've got kids that are taking like calculus BC as a sophomore. I think we've got 3-dimensional calculus after that. I don't know. I don't teach math, so I don't know. We've got AP physics, we have AP chemistry, which I don't teach. I don't know.
yeah, we don't even offer calculus or physics here, which is really a shame.
We don't either.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've got kids that take what's that sophomore level calculus classes, as yeah.
Yeah. I took all that in high school because I was able to go to that Louisiana school in Natchitoches.
Okay.
But my hometown school was in Farmerville, and yeah, they weren't offering any of that kind of stuff. So if it hadn't been for being able to go there, I definitely would not have been exposed to any of that early on.
Right. Yeah, I took 2 years of chemistry. We didn't have we had AP, but I took organic and inorganic in high school, and I took up through just calculus. And my degree's in chemical engineering, so I don't have all this master's degree and all that. I did I teach Louisiana and got a teaching certificate that way. So
yeah, I kind of like my degree is in electrical engineering, and then when I finally went back to decide I was going to teach, I just took a year off and got my master's and went into it. So
where did you go? Louisiana Tech?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I went to Purdue. But that's where I grew up. So the high school that I went to is within walking distance of Purdue. So.
Did either of y'all work in the industry before y'all started teaching?
I interned, but wait, you mean yeah, so I interned at a few electrical engineering places. I ended up actually working for FEMA out of college. So I was like a disaster housing inspector for like 8 years. So I would just travel around to different disaster areas and assess damages and things like that, and help people get like federal assistance. Because at the time I was like offered a salary like 55,000 starting, and this was back several years ago, at an engineering firm, and an office that was just starting, and then it would have been a lot higher going on. But that same year I had made like 110,000 doing FEMA inspections. So I was like, yeah, I'll just keep on doing this for a while instead. But I kind of got burned out doing that, so that's why I went to teaching, I guess. So yeah, so I never really used my electrical engineering degree like I probably should have. I'll probably be in a whole different place if I taken that job.
But would you be as happy?
Probably. Maybe, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe in that alternate timeline, maybe I would have coached as an after school program or something. Who knows? Got involved that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do enjoy having, I can't even say I have summers off though, because here we are, doing this. So I don't know what I'm getting out of this.
Nice vacation time. Holidays.
Yeah, that is true. Having this 2 weeks off and then another week. Yeah, there is a lot of that. That's true. If I had better things to do in my free time, I guess being in this little small town doesn't help as far as recreational activities go. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we've really accomplished all that much today. We've gone over the GPS stuff. We were scheduled to kind of try to put together like some sort of brainstorming document for just sensors, like researching some places where we can find info on sensors. Did we want to try seeing what we can find? Let's just put some stuff together. Should we do that? So here's one. So what I was kind of thinking is maybe searching like the VEX website for what their knowledge base articles, and maybe their training articles, or maybe searching YouTube for some YouTube tutorials for sensors like that maybe some teams have put together, or even going on the VEX forums and seeing if we can find any articles. And are there any particular sensors that we'd be most interested in? I would say probably one of the most useful sensors is that inertial sensor, I think. So being able to do a lot of stuff with it. But once again, what's going to help you guys teach an advanced class in the fall? That's our ultimate goal here, is making sure you have the resources you need to do that. So come fall, what would you want the kids to do? Like have some sort of, like, would you want them to investigate some different types of sensors, or I would say at least maybe investigate like how to navigate with the inertial sensor, right? And maybe the GPS sensor, so we saw how it worked out. So maybe we could try just putting together some links for documents that can help steer the kids in that direction, or for you guys to put together stuff. So let's see, it's 4:15 now. So let's at least maybe I'll share a Google Doc with everybody, and then maybe we can spend the next 30 minutes doing that and putting some stuff together. Does that sound good? Okay, so let me create a Google Doc and share it. I really hope I'm going the right direction with this advanced class for you guys. I hope I'm not really because it is meant to be open-ended, and I discussed all this with Vanessa, and she said that that's how it's supposed to be, but I still worry that I'm not doing right by you guys. But with me not having taught the class myself to students, I really don't have a lot of guidance to give you guys, other than my experience as a coach and stuff. If that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're doing great. I mean, I figured for the most part, my students are going to be pretty much just working on their robots. And then I would like a few things to be able to like show them and teach them. So just, have it there for them. So I think this is great.
Yeah, okay. Good. Because honestly, when I took the advanced class in the hopes that our school would offer it, Brady, really, we didn't do anything. I mean, I built an X drive and we kind of played around with the X drive a bit. And then I think we spent the rest of the time working on that drone class that he was putting together. So like looking into like getting certification and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to share this with you guys just real quick. Let's share. Oh, did we mention a word for today yet? It was programming, right?
Programming. I forgot to do that. I do that.
Yeah. Okay. So so I just kind of shared this blank document with you guys. So what I would like you guys to do is maybe find some links to some things about sensors, but don't just post the link, but also kind of give it a description of what that link's about. And so, and I'll kind of look up stuff too, so we can maybe just kind of see how much we can fill out in the next 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna, where's a good place to start? Probably Advanced Robotics. Did did any of you guys ever check out the Vex PD Plus stuff? That professional development plus, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't like coaches get like a free access to it if you registered a team? Does that sound right?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Was that like when we were doing that driver training in there, that thing?
Um,
Or like gave you like where you could be a teach the class kind of thing?
I think it's a little different than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there was something in there, wasn't there? There was something when I went to do that driver training, there was a course in there that was like 21 hours or something that was teaching robotics.
Oh yeah, yeah, for the it's a teacher certification, right? I believe.
Did you do that? I didn't.
You know, I always meant to, but I don't think I ever actually did. Yeah, so that Vex, I think if you go to the Vex website,
I thought you wrote it. I thought you wrote
no, I mean, I'm not as much as it seems like I shill for Vex sometimes. Yeah, I'm not really affiliated with them at all. So I'm just kind of a fan, I guess. Yeah, so they have that Vex certified educator program. I don't. I'm kind of looking through it right now. Yeah, and it has all these units to it. Yeah, so it's a long, it's a lot of content here. I feel like I could probably bulldoze through a lot of this too. Like it says the first unit would take like 5 hours, but I think I could probably get it done pretty quick. Let's just see what this looks like. So
Are we talking about the drive team certification?
no, I'm talking about the educator's certification.
Oh,
Let me put the link in the chat. What
sure.
I think I should have expected this happening. I kind of went down a rabbit hole looking at this educator story because I mean, to be fair, I was thinking that maybe it has a unit in here on. Yeah, because like for instance, there's a unit 9 is a unit on using the vision sensor. So there's some useful things in here. Like unit 8 is hardware construction techniques. Unit 6 is programming structures. And unit 5 is sensors. So we were just talking about that. So what all do we have here? So there's a unit on attaching, connecting a bumper sensor, coding with the bumper switch, using feedback from the motor dashboard, additional V5 sensors. Well, it's kind of a short unit though. It doesn't really touch on a lot here. So I think this educator certification is kind of more bare bones, but that PD plus, I think has like actually like a lot of like video lessons content in it, and even live sessions. They had given me a year, and I really should have checked it out while I still had the subscription to it, because I think it normally is like $1,000. I think, yeah, it's a $999. And I didn't take advantage of it while I still had it, but that's a shame. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, no one's posted anything yet, and I haven't either. So let me get back to. Well, actually, I'll just put this in the link.
So the people who win worlds,
Mhm.
like what sensors do you think they're using? How many sensors?
I feel like for their navigation and stuff, they're definitely using odometry for sure. I don't think they're using things like the vision sensor or anything like that.
You think they were using odometry?
Or maybe,
I think what they had was their bills were much better, and they like I could see them using that thing where you can have where you use you switch gears, switching gears. What do you call that?
Like you mean like with motor sharing or with
Where you use the pneumatic
Yeah.
cylinder to move some gears, and then they file those. And you know, even at Worlds, they're really protective of showing their robots. Like, I mean, I didn't get the kids got to see them a whole lot more than me, but you know, I was just kind of sitting way back, just observing. You know, but I didn't get to see any of the robots up close. But I know that
yeah, it's basically a transmission is what you're saying, right?
right, where you have like you file those gears down to where they're rounded so that when they make that swap, the gears don't just slam into each other.
Yeah.
And then they use that air cylinder in some kind of way to shift that whole rack of gears on top of another thing. And then now you're using the gears for something else.
Yeah, I just saw a video of a team just yesterday. I was looking at a video. It was just recently posted, but they actually had that kind of setup where they
and they would use those pneumatic
Yeah.
cylinders a lot better.
so like I'll post this video in the group chat, but so yeah, I just saw this video yesterday. I think it was just posted a few days ago, but they have so they have a pneumatic cylinder that is changing gears. So they're kind of sharing, and this is not their finished robot, but I guess they said it's called a PTO. So our bench over here will have a rope around it as a ratchet. But it's not pretty straight. So basically, at the end of the ratchet, after we're done using the we can go PTO. That's really hard. It's hard to do it again with the air right now. You'll never take money or anything. That tank is over right here. But yeah, so after you match. Yeah, that video doesn't really show it off super well because they don't actually show it moving back and forth. But that it looks like that's what that back cylinder is for, is sliding that gear over. Like, and you can see like what you were mentioning, Lawrence, about them rounding off those gears. Yeah. So but I'm sure there's other, but I mean, this just came to mind because I just saw it recently. But I'm sure I'm sure there's some teams out there that have some videos, but it looks like it's called PTO. So if you were to search for Vex PTO, maybe there's a lot of people have explanations of their PTO. So drivetrain PTO explanation. So that would be something to look into. So it looks like there's a lot of videos that show how they do that. And I do think that would be something that would be big for this particular tournament, because you would probably want to do some sort of PTO to so that you could share those motors to use for your climb. If you do a climb. That way you're not just devoting motors to the climb. And that way you could, like for instance, if you have a 6-motor drive, if you're doing that PTO, then that could be 6 motors to be used to climb with. Which would definitely get you up a lot faster than just 2 motors would.
Right. I mean, that's like going from 8 motors to 14 motors now. You know, without taking any space. But the problem is that, I mean, our school was never built. My students have never built anything like that. You know,
Yeah.
it looks a lot more
My-
complicated. Ours is usually simple.
My kids haven't really attempted that either. So, but maybe they would after watching a few videos about it. And unfortunately, my most ambitious student just graduated. So he was the one that was always going on the forums and going through all the videos and doing all the research on all this stuff. So we need to have like and like I have kids like the kids that came today, you know, they're good workers and everything. Like they came in to set up the field and all that kind of stuff, and you know, using part of their summer for that. But they're not the type to, well, I mean, and no, I mean they'll do research too, but they just don't dig into it as deep as Ashton used to, is all. So at any rate, feel like
Which one was Ashton? That's the guy with the long hair.
yeah, there's two of them that have really long hair, and they're both brothers. So Ashton,
He's the V robot.
yeah, he was the one that went to Worlds. Yep. His younger brother Grayson is still in it. He'll be a senior next year. Grayson isn't quite as skilled as Ashton was, but sometimes it's just hard to live in your brother's shadow, right?
Right. Well, him and then what's his name? Davin was really good. Davin from the Jawas.
Yeah, and they graduated, so
Right.
yeah. Uh that's wrong. So let's see.
Oh, the first day that we signed up for Monday.com, our department was already able to connect our.
Session on the V5 robot dash. Now, in today's video, I'm speaking about around the interface, how we. Okay, so we have a robot. The robot works, and it should be set up for the robot to do is driving the robot is going in this direction, which is obviously do that basic video, subscribe to our channel.
That's not really what.
Reach the desired distance. For simple tasks, this may get the job done. However, voltage. This allow you to control your robot based on volt. By the time your robot reaches the desired value, it is still in motion and will overshoot its mark. The solution to the sensors problem, item value N when far away from the endpoint. R times the sum of the undershoot from the previous sum case, or if the P and I terms are small, usually introduce an overshoot vision. If loops are great, this and will certainly give your robot
Do you ever wish you had a creative collaborator to help you brainstorm and develop your ideas?
Okay, this is an example of a proportional turn. This, what I'm holding in my hand is the inertial sensor. And if you hit run the program, right now the sensor is calibrating, and then we enter a loop where the motor runs until we make a turn of 180 degrees. So to illustrate that, I'm going to turn the gyro, the inertial sensor, to the right, 180. And you can see I have a heading printed out 180. And you see the motor comes to an almost complete stop there. And if we turn it back to the heading of 0, it speeds up. So slow down, speed up. So now as I approach the heading, my motor is going slower and slower, which is going to allow us to make more precise turns and hit the headings that we want to hit. Okay, this is the code for my proportional turns. First, make sure that you have at least a motor to test this and your inertial sensor set up with port 6, so it's called inertial 6. And as I enter the program, the first thing I'm going to do is calibrate that inertial sensor. And while it's calibrating, we're going to go to wait for 100 milliseconds to just let it complete. Got a couple variable declarations here. They're all floats. We call them floats or variables that can have decimals. And I've got something called the actual heading, which will go get the current heading off the inertial sensor. Target heading, which would be the heading that user inputs. I want the robot to turn until this number of degrees. Another variable called error, which is the difference between the target heading and the actual heading. This will allow the user to basically understand how far away they are from reaching their desired degree. And lastly, I've got a sex really dependent, and therefore I'll also be constantly calculating what that error is going the other way by smaller and smaller in difference. As we approach the actual heading,
I don't actually have access to the Word document.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just requested access.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see if this works. I think I sent it to maybe a different email, maybe.
Yeah, you probably sent it to my school one.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Did you get access now?
Yes. Thank you.
Sure. Mm,
I haven't been able to like actually read through it, but I did find it's GPS sensor versus odometry. So
okay. I'll be kind of interested in that. Just was that a Vex forum post
mhm.
or I don't ever get on Reddit, but I remember Ashton telling me that there's a big Reddit community for Vex too. That has a lot of stuff.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No.
Do y'all post? Do y'all ever do like the YouTube channels or the TikToks for y'all's teams?
No, I really wanted them to, because that's kind of the way you kind of get your name known out there, right? Is if your teams are posting videos and stuff of their builds. So I would like my teams to do that. I think it would be kind of cool if they did. I think Jawa's posted a lot of videos.
Their teacher, what's his name? He's always posting stuff.
Yeah, he posts a lot of stuff.
Not like that $50,000 check they got.
What?
Yeah, yeah, they got some sponsor that gave them a lot of money. I remember seeing a post them showing off all the snacks that the grocery store had donated them for their world's trip.
They post pictures. Yeah, they stayed there a long time too, and they took all those pictures. Like we left, like if let's just say we were picked, which we weren't. I mean, I was already gone.
Yeah, we were too, because we decided to take that afternoon to tour. I mean, we stayed to watch we watched the finals, but we took that afternoon and we just walked around Dallas. Like we went downtown and checked out, like that AT&T park was really cool. Where the AT&T Plaza, it had some really cool stuff. And so yeah, so we just spent the afternoon kind of walking around downtown Dallas and checking that out. Because yeah, because the kids because the previous years we went, like the last time we went to Dallas, we never really had a chance to go anywhere. So we took an opportunity then.
I mean, hopefully they do it like it was not last year, but the year before, or at least it's over a weekend. Because it killed us having it like in the middle of the week, like because I mean, I had our kids go to school on Monday, and then they had AP tests, they had LEAP testing. I mean, yeah, I think it was LEAP testing. I had a bunch of kids that had to make up LEAP tests, but they took them before they left. So.
Yeah. I see several articles about GPS versus odometry. I see odometry versus GPS, GPS versus odometry, GPS sensor versus odometry. So definitely a lot. I'm kind of curious about this one too. I'm just kind of like looking through the Vex forums right now.
Well, if you find one better than the one that I posted, you can replace it.
Yeah. Does the GPS sensor work without the barcode sticker? No, it does. I really think they should have called it something other than GPS, because it's not a global system. or unless their G stands for something else. Because I just feel that that's misleading a bit.
I mean, the other thing is like you were able to do the GPS with that sensor, right? And odometry, that like you need the 3 wheels, and then
Yeah.
the wheels have to be like if one of the wheels doesn't touch the floor, then the whole thing is off. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah, it
somehow
has to be in contact the whole time, and the wheel can't slip or anything.
right, and the wheels that we use are the what you call them? They're the Omni wheels,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So they slip when you go in the opposite direction. That's why you got to have the 3 of them, and then they have to slip. Otherwise, if they stick like a flex wheel, then your robot won't be able to turn.
Yeah. 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 So, but there's just seeing the level of precision some teams can pull off odometry is pretty impressive. But yeah, we're not at that level, I guess.
I mean, at least with the GPS, it's looking at something that is stationary versus like with the odometry. If something fails some sort of way, then it's going to think it's somewhere that it's not.
Yeah. And I do kind of like, that's why I like kind of using the GPS in conjunction with their inertial sensor too. So you kind of have two things that can kind of go off of.
That sounds good.
Mm. That article, super useful. Let's see.
Honestly, on the odometry, like you have to make that decision from day one, and because that design along with the powertrain, that all has to be incorporated together. You can't
Yeah,
do
it's
the
not. Yeah, it's
odometry
definitely
as
not
a
something you're gonna tack on because you're not gonna have any room for it.
right. Like if you build your robot and at the end you're like, oh, I want odometry, it's not gonna work. Like you gotta come up with a good design, and they probably have designs out there, and then build it around the odometry.
Mm-hmm.
And then hope that during a match, you don't mess it up when you're going over that Is it a 3-inch pipe or 2-inch pipe?
Yeah, I think it's a 3-inch pipe, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, because if you're in a match and you run over that 3-inch pipe, and then, because the skills thing, when
Well,
they
maybe
go,
it's 2. Let me look at it.
they're gonna open up the field for skills later.
It's. I guess that might be a 2-inch pipe, but I think it's a 2-inch pipe, but it's off the ground. It's not like, it's not sitting on the. It's not sitting on the field. It's actually up a bit. So.
Well, I mean, some teams they have like maybe they put like some kind of rubber band or something, and they deactivate the odometry during a match and then reset it for skills.
Oh, okay, so they have it like, so they pull it up out of the way.
Yeah, maybe they pull it up out of the way during a regular match, and then for skills, then they drop it down, and because you don't have to worry about another robot or going over pipes or what, I guess.
Yeah, but I feel like if even with that, I feel like it's just the likelihood of it getting caught is very, very high
Right.
on that. Or, uh, hmm. I don't understand. I'm in the middle of reading some forum posts, and I kind of feel bad because there's like this one team that doesn't know or didn't know that you could program the joystick. So they were just going with the default drive, and they didn't know you could customize it.
I was reading that one too. Did you see the what is odometry videos?
Yeah, that are in that. Yeah, I didn't click on them yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah, but so I'm reading the one that you posted, right? That's I feel like, yeah. Yeah. Those are using the old the old rotational sensors. That's what that looking at that picture there. They just recently released some new smaller ones.
Right, the old red ones, like you said, they take up a lot of space and we gotta worry for clearances and all that.
Yeah. Which I still have a bunch of that stuff because I never threw out my V4 stuff. And in fact,
Well, all that stuff still works with the, I mean.
yeah, it's all still legal, so there was no reason to get rid of it. Actually, I still kept some Cortexes and all the V4 motors. They're in a box somewhere. I don't know why I held on to it. I was thinking maybe if we ever did a project or something that needed a bunch of motors. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have a bunch too.
Eric, do you mind if I go ahead and get off? I have a bridge to build tonight.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock now. Let's. I think we were only going to be on here 30 minutes anyway. So, how about we just call it? We'll call it a day here. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah, same time tomorrow.
Yep. Same time tomorrow. I think on our schedule we have the talk with Catherine. So Catherine should be on tomorrow. So
She'll be on at 3.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.